Hi, and thank you for that great introduction. Well, I am Adrian Dante,
And I'm Sergeant Lamb.
and we're here to talk to you about some good stuff.
Some good stuff?
Good stuff.
Alright, what do we got on our plate?
Well, I think you got a lady in mind, don't you?
Yeah, it's one of these dingy broads on The View. I know there's a lot of them, but her name is Joy Behar.
Yeah, oh yes.
So she had a couple comments that, I just wanted to touch on for a wee bit.
Well, as far as what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually saw this and heard this, okay?
Okay, which frightens me the fact that you were watching The View, but go ahead.
Well, no, I was watching HLN because she's going to have a new show on there.
Oh, okay. Alright, good excuse.
And she said, and I quote, that spanking is a form of child abuse. Okay? Now, then she went on to say that, what does a 2-year-old or 3-year-old know about, they're supposed to throw food and scream and throw their toys around. What can they do that they will deserve a spanking? How about knocking a 27-inch TV set off its stand?
Well,
Or biting another kid? Or spitting at another kid? Or throwing the food from the table across the room?
see, kids are very, very smart at that age, and since we can't coherently speak to them and say, hey, you do not want to put your finger in that light socket because it will electrocute you and die.
Well, you don't have to teach the kid not to put his finger in there.
But you can give them a nice little smack on the hand because that's all they're going to understand is, trial and error. There are consequences for me doing this. If I do this action, there will be a negative reaction. And of course, it's a slippery slope, just like with anything. I've always said that. I mean, there's a big difference between child discipline and child abuse. And I always consider the differences when you do out of hate and when you do out of love. And, I'm concerned for your general your well-being. So I am going to give you a smack because you were acting a fool in public or in a movie or in a restaurant, or you're about ready to hurt yourself, you were going to jump off the couch to the other couch. I mean, all the dumb crap that us kids do. All right, so I'm giving you a nice little lesson here that you don't do it again. And as opposed to, I just came home from work and I'm really pissed off, come here so I can smack you around. That's abuse.
That's abuse.
And I hate to say it, but I mean, I feel like, America is just going so soft. Like, we're all a bunch of weaklings. Like, oh, you can't. I mean, remember back in the day. I mean, and I'm not that old, but I mean, I still remember when I was growing up, kids used to be able to walk home from school. I mean, I was 5 years old in kindergarten, but I walked 2 miles home from school, and nobody thought anything of it. And we didn't have cell phones. And my mom would go the rest of her day just on the assumption that I was home and made it alive and well. And you could also give your kid a good whack and maybe he's making a fool in public. But no, not anymore. Now you have to be afraid to let your kids walk across the street from school, and now every kid has a cell phone just for accountability, and now you're not even allowed to give your kid a smack.
Well, that to me, if you don't teach a child that there are consequences in life,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it is. It's a consequence. You rob a bank, you go to jail. You bite a kid, you get a smack.
Well, yeah, because consider the fact that, it may be me smacking you this time, but when you're a little bit older and this attitude continues, you might just be getting your ass kicked by a lot of people. At least, I'm going to only do this on your butt, but you start biting kids and pulling hair at school, you're going to get pounded, and you're going to get a hell of a lot worse than what I'm doing to you right now. And you could even say social justice. I mean, if you steal a little candy from school or from the Circle K, you come home, you get a spanking, when your parents find out, that's a lot better than, like you said, going to jail. You got to nip those little things in the butt, no pun intended.
Yeah, because I seen 2-year-old and 3-year-olds beating up on the dog, the house dog, and the family, oh, isn't that so cute? If I was that dog, guess what? I will have a new bone to bury.
Well, that's, actually they say sociopaths start with torturing animals, so.
Exactly, so. But anyway, Joy, I don't know, maybe you ought to have like a couple of kids under your belt and then have them go out and see if they like putting their finger in the wall socket or beating up on the dog.
Drinking Drano.
Right.
There you go. What if she had a kid and she was like, oh, he drank the Drano. Why didn't I smack him?
Yeah, exactly.
He would be alive right now. But
he'd be, he'd be flushed, but he'd be alive, What can I tell you? Anyway, changing the conversation a little bit. This one is quick, but it's going to take a couple minutes, and I want to turn it over to our sergeant over here because he has got a way of putting things that
the professional of the Middle East.
Right.
All right. Well, since it's quick, I guess I'll start my rant. Okay. So the general that's in charge of our U.S. forces in the Middle East decided that now all of a sudden, 8 years after the fact we invaded Afghanistan, we need a new strategy. We need to, one, dump about 40,000 more troops by next summer, and we also need to leave our Humvees and our protected armor guard towers and come from behind the wall and integrate with society and mingle with the Afghan people. Learn their culture and learn their language. Don't you think it's a little late? I mean, we've, for the past 8 years, bombed and destroyed their society and their country, and now we should learn their language? I mean, shouldn't that have been the very first thing we should have done? And he also says this is a very risky strategy and expect heavy, heavy casualties. Well,
in other words, more of a young kid going to get killed.
That is a lot to risk. Before we do this crazy idea of yours, let's just look at history for real quick.
Yeah, let's look at that.
Alexander the Great
couldn't do it.
Couldn't conquer Afghanistan. The British were there for 80 years. Occupying that country from the early 1800s to the early 1900s, okay? And even Afghanistan, even Russia invaded Afghanistan and went bankrupt because of it. And in fact, we actually were so afraid of communism back then, we actually started a militia group and funded them and gave them guns. Oh yeah, it was the Taliban to fight the Russians. So wow, what goes around comes around. Apparently we haven't learned our lesson. And speaking of Afghanistan, wait a minute, aren't there 3 militia groups there? Yes, there are, that are fighting us, and they're all being ran and funded and ordered by organizations in Pakistan? So, continued occupation and putting more troops and more of our, sons and daughters and brothers and sisters on the line, why don't we just, always want to take out, they say, well, we just cut the bottom of the cell, another one replaces it. Well, why don't we go to the leaders? They're all in Pakistan. Why are we still in Afghanistan and it can't be won?
Well, why don't we leave those people alone?
Just leave them alone. That's the thing. It was like, you really think now they're like, oh, you've been killing us for 8 years, but you know what? Now that you're going to get out of your Humvee, let's all sing Kumbaya. Grab a beer. Let's construct a Mill Avenue in Afghanistan, integrate and hit on their women. Yeah, they're going to love that. They're just going to be, they're going to welcome us with open arms.
As soon as the party starts, let me know. I'll be there.
You know what? And now that we mention this, since they want more troops there, and you grew up in Vietnam and during the draft era, some people are saying maybe we should, initiate a draft. At first I thought, that'd be horrible to have a draft, but now, here's my train of thought. I want there to be a draft. Because if politicians and rich people in Wall Street had to risk their own sons and daughters in the Middle East, maybe then they would make a few rule changes and they would change our foreign policy and send our troops home.
Hear, hear.
You don't care about a poker game when you got no money on the table. I feel that, in America, it's the bottom 10%. It's this little people like, me, you, and all the rest of my brothers that were out there that we're the ones that get shot at. We're the ones getting killed. If Obama or anybody that was, on any, let's take a look at the past, election. Nobody had sons and daughters that were overseas. Or even Mitt Romney. He said, my sons are going to serve the country by helping me in my campaign. Yeah, okay, sure. Have fun with that one. Really. Nobody. How many senators and and House representatives have sons and daughters that are in risk or out there right now or at risk of get sent to Afghanistan?
I don't think so.
So I think there should be a draft. I think everybody needs to throw a little skin in the game, and then maybe you might be a little bit more concerned about sending troops over there. So I said my piece.
Well, and with that we have to say goodbye. But listen. If you have anything to say about this, we'll be glad to hear from you at radio at live to uaz.com.
Good or bad, let us know. Radio at live2az.com.
Let us know. We'll see you then. Take care.
Hoorah.